Audience, welcome. Who I have with me today, this gentleman's name is Ilhan. Yes, pronounced Ilhan. You are Turkish, right?
Yes,
is that
sir.
correct? You are a Turk.
Yes, I am a Turk.
How did you and I originally meet?
I called you up.
Okay.
I called you up. Saw your videos on the internet, and I called you up and I said, "Hey, Darren, you gotta get me on board."
And by internet, you mean specifically YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, your YouTube channel. That's what really sold me, your YouTube channel. But I did see your website as well.
Okay, so you did a little research,
Yes.
and if you were to briefly, like the Reader's Digest version, how did it play up as far as the original conversation and how I responded to you? And like, how did you approach it? What was your objective, and how did I respond to that?
You said no. You said no. You're like, no, I'm too busy.
No.
I'm in a place.
But just for clarity, what did I actually say no to?
You said no to. You said you weren't in a place in your life where you had room for somebody else.
A full-time type of, right?
Yeah.
Because just to clarify, once again, for clarity's sake, is guys reach out to me like you did all the time. Hey, Darren, I saw one of your videos. I noticed that you kind of do mentoring, or you have these like students, or you allow people to come out on location. So that's typically what people do, is they call up and say, hey, Darren, I'd love to come out with you just for a day and kind of pick your brain, this and that. And my usual answer is, yeah, come on out. Now, there's endless variables as to whether that's really appropriate or realistic. So that's how I'm looking at it, and that's how they're looking at it. But you had a different agenda. You had much more grand ideas and aspirations, right?
Yes, I did.
So really, I was saying yes to the baseline, like, oh yeah, come out with me for a day or two, go for it, come on out. But you, it's like, Darren, no. And now I'm going to paraphrase what you said, where it's like, Darren, I think I could be a benefit to you. I think I have a lot to offer. And essentially, as I label it, it's like you weaseled your way into my world, because the answer was no. But so there's a couple lessons in this video, which is, the first one is, no sometimes doesn't mean no. So even though you heard no, what did you do?
Well, I did sense that there was a little something there, so I used whatever little bit of leverage that I could get to get my way in there, because I knew that I had great ideas, and as long as you were on the phone with me, I was going to keep pushing it.
See, that is a perfect example. Is he knows what he wants. He's not going to allow a simple no to stop you, and I admire that. That one quality alone will open up so many doors for you, but they're not just going to open up. You're not just going to come in and say, hey, I want to come in. Can I come in? No. Oh, wow. Okay, thanks anyways.
Yeah.
That's not what you did. You're like, whoa, wait, Darren. Yeah. Just hear me out here. I got some ideas. I think I can really benefit. I've got ideas. I've got a plan. I think I can really help you get to what you want. Essentially, what you presented was a compelling argument that you had some stuff to bring to the table that would create a win for all of us. It would create a win for you. It would be a win for me. It'd be a win for my customers. And so that was the compelling argument. And it's just like, you know what, Ilhan, I get it. And you're not telling me anything that I haven't already kind of thought about in my head. But guess what? Now, for me as a business owner, now I'm looking at it as like, wow, this guy's motivated. This guy's making a compelling argument. He's not just going away with his tail between his legs the first time he said that I tell him no. So right there, it's like, okay, this is interesting, because now it becomes about the messenger. This messenger is different. He's different than the other guys. And that's not to disparage any of you guys that have reached out to me and have actually come on location, because I've had many of you come out, and I have not filmed. I probably have only filmed like just a small fraction of guys that have come out. So in case you're wondering that out there in audience land, normally I don't film it. And this is your first time on camera, and how long have you been working with me now?
It's been long time. It's been like 3 months probably, right?
That's where I would put it. It's probably about 3 months.
Yeah.
He's been with me for 3 months, and this is the first time I'm introducing him to you guys. And, okay, close your ears.
All right.
He's like an employer's wet dream.
Uh-oh.
Okay, now your head's going to be so big, you're not going to be able to get back in the van.
Yeah.
But I'm just calling it for what it is. There's no reason for me to blow sunshine up his ass because, I don't know what that would gain me.
Right.
Other than a self-absorbed, egotistical employee now that thinks he's entitled and now he's going to work a little less harder.
Yeah, it's going to work against your
So it actually would work against me.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
So I'm just keeping it real.
There you go.
Because you really are. You are employer's wet dream. You essentially are the type of employee that I think I would be and have always been, but I never find. And that's what I sensed when you and I first talked, was that like, wow, this guy really is different. So now that you know Ilhan and the type of character integrity he has, and he has true integrity. I've tested him. He doesn't know it, but he's passed every time.
Okay.
Because I always know when someone lies. Eventually, it always reveals itself when they lie. They think they're like kids. They think they can get away with something, and they think they're smarter than the parent, or the employee thinks you're smarter than the boss. Rarely is that the case.
Yeah.
When in fact, you intellectually are smarter than me. I already know that. Intellectually, he really is smart. More sunshine up your ass.
Yeah, there you go.
But intellect is different than real world experience. So how smart are you in the world of detailing compared to me? Probably a little less smart, right?
Yeah.
But I just know innately he is of higher intellect than myself. I already accept that. I already know I'm never going to be the smartest guy in any room. But that's why I do so much reading, because I've got a lot of catching up to do.
I feel the same way, to be honest with you.
Well, anyhow, so that's lesson number one. No isn't always a no. Lesson number two is Ilhan and myself, we got into this conversation, and there's certain rules, and you've heard me talk about some of these rules, and for my world, I always mention, because I know, for example, Ilhan, he's not racing home every night and watching Darren's latest video that he just uploaded, because you get to live it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I've heard enough of Darren. I don't need to go home and inflict more of that onto myself. So in my videos, I talk about kings. Communication's king, presentation's king, efficiency is king, because to me, it's all about profitability. I reduce it down to, I want to do something that I love doing, and I want to be as profitable at doing it as I can be. So that's my kind of mantra, is find something I'm passionate about, that I like doing, but in the process be as profitable as possible. Because I can teach you how to be busier than hell, but you can be so busy, and then at the end of the year you look at your tax return and you think, WTF, that's all I made?
Yeah.
And now you're worn out, you're disgruntled, you're disenfranchised, you're like, F that. It's like, well, what if I showed you that you could work part-time, make a full-time living? Would that be a compelling argument?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's my mantra. And so I talk about these kings, communication, go on and so forth. What I also address is that there's baseline rules. Learn the rules, then you can learn how to break the rules. And break the rules, obviously, and this is kind of where moral character, your moral compass comes in, because you could break the rules and get away with things that are not in favor of your customer. They're all based on your own personal agenda or
Right.
gain.
Yeah, you cut corners.
Exactly. That's a better way of putting it, is cutting corners. So you can do that, but you could also do it in a way that benefits both sides. But it's breaking the traditional rules, because in our industry of detailing, if you follow the manufacturer's rules, they'll have your whole garage or your whole van lined with endless products.
Right.
A vinyl plastic cleaner, a leather cleaner, an all-purpose cleaner, an upholstery shampoo. It's like, seriously, I need 4 products? It's like, wow, wait, I can use an all-purpose cleaner and do everything.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about the rules. So you understand the rules, and you think, hey, that's bullshit. That's just the industry trying to separate me from from me and my money.
Right.
So that's what I mean, is that it can actually be a win if you have the integrity to make it a win for both sides. So, on to the next topic, which is there's rules and then there's always exceptions to the rules. So with detailing, there's always a baseline rule of like, okay, you've got to go through the process of washing a car, decontaminating it, either polishing it first, then waxing it, or straight to waxing. Those are the rules. But ultimately, every car, as you now know, is a case by case. Not every car is created equal. They're all built differently. They're all different sizes, colors, materials, amount of dirt. It's just different.
Yeah.
But you start with the basic rules. So then this led to a discussion of cost. And one of the things that I try specifically to teach my kids and Ilhan in this moment is we got in this discussion about, it's kind of like this saying, and they call it, what is the definition of a cynic? And I don't agree with this, by the way, but the definition of a cynic is a person that knows the cost of everything but the value of nothing. And I know you understand that. Some of you guys are probably out there going, wait, what does that mean? Well, what that means is there's a difference between a price tag. You go into let's say you go into Best Buy. You're shopping for a new widescreen TV. And now all you do is you look at the cost. It's like, okay, this one's a 40-inch and it costs $350. Oh, but this one's a 42-inch and it's only $25 more. Yeah, well, that's just reducing it down to a number. It's like, well, what does this have to offer? Other features, benefits, maybe a warranty, maybe a better true resolution, all these endless things that are of value. So that's the difference between shopping cost or price versus value. And this also could segue into another endless topic of pricing, where you don't want price shoppers, you want value shoppers. And that's what I've always delivered to my customers. And if you go to my website, my autofetishdetail.com website, you'll see how I talk to people. And I tell them right on the first page, if you're price shopping, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be a good fit. But if you're value shopping, then I'm likely a very good fit for you. And then I even go further than that and say, if you don't understand the difference between price shopping and value shopping, I've got a whole page dedicated to that to teach someone the difference between price and value shopping. So then how, to bring it full circle, that got me on the topic of very few people understand the true cost of anything. And one of the examples I used was a car.
Right.
I used a car because most people can relate to owning a car. Okay, you own a car?
Yes, I
That's
do.
how you get to, anyhow.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, so what most people will do is like, oh, how much does it cost to own a car? Because most of us in our head, because we have not been trained to operate in what I call the three-dimensional world and understanding the true cost of anything, because everything, I don't care how valuable it is to you or how many benefits it delivers, there's always going to be a cost. And sometimes that cost is not tangible because it's what's called a lost opportunity cost, which means that if you buy something here that's of great value, that money's tied up in that thing. Right. Which means what if something else comes in and it's of greater value and you thought, wow, nothing could ever be greater value than this, but now your money's tied up in that. And now you have lost the opportunity for this. That's what's called lost opportunity cost. So that is what I consider the intangible cost of buying something over here. Did I explain that very well?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can tell me it's like, Darren, I'm not following along your logic, and that will probably help them too. If someone out there is going like, dude, you're all over the board. But is that is there enough
sense.
Clarity there?
Yeah, there's enough clarity there.
So let's say you have your eye on this cool car.
Okay.
And you've decided this cool car is going to cost me $18,000. And you say, okay, it's the right color. It's got all the features I want. I'm buying it used, so I'm not taking a hit on the automatic depreciation of a brand new car. I've checked out how much the insurance is going to cost. It's got a great safety record, all this stuff.
Right.
Now you dump your $18,000 into that car. Okay, 2 weeks later, your neighbor comes and says, oh, dude, you know what? Do you happen to know anyone who wants to buy this car? And you go, what, you're selling your car? He goes, yeah, why? It's like, dude, I love that car. How much you selling it for? And he goes, oh, 15 grand. You're like, 15 grand? Yeah. Son of a bitch. How come you didn't tell me I just bought this car?
Yeah.
Now, because that money is tied up in that $18,000 car, which was a great value, guess what? Now you've lost the opportunity to perhaps buy something or put your money into something else.
Right.
So that's a lost opportunity cost.
Yes.
So even though this makes complete sense and you shop value and you understand value and you haven't just reduced it to a price, because you could buy a used Civic for, let's say, $3,500.
Right.
It'll get you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, but a Civic's a piece of crap. It's not as safe. And I know, piece of crap. All you Honda owners, you know, it's like,
it's a great car. It's a great car.
Darren just despairs my car. Hondas will ride. I've got a Honda that's got 275,000 miles on it, Darren. So don't tell me it's a piece of crap car. I'm simplifying it, folks.
Yeah.
Work with me here. So, but now does that make a little more sense? Where now this guy comes in, and you're like, son of a bitch! I wish I had waited 3 weeks, and I could have got even more value for my money.
Yeah.
So that's what's a lost opportunity cost. So the point is there's always a cost for everything. But over here on this $18,000 car, you're looking at it like, oh, it's a bitchin' car, the right color, it's safe, all this stuff.
Yeah.
True value. But there's still a cost. Now let's look at more the hard costs, or in corporate America, they call it the soft costs. Insurance, gas, maintenance. Those are what would be considered the soft costs, because you have the capital, the original capital into that car, $18,000. Okay, what about tax and license? Because you paid that.
Yes, I did.
In California, tax is probably like 8.5%. I don't even know.
Yeah,
it's some stupid amount.
Yeah.
So 8.5% on 18,000 is substantial. Then you've got your licensing fees, which whatever that is. So those would be the additional soft costs. The point is if you're looking to go into business, whether it's detailing or any business, that's one of the biggest failure rates. They actually have it labeled out. Like one of them is undercapitalization. One of them is poor marketing. The third one, I think, is taxes. Like people get behind in their taxes. They don't understand how taxes work, whether it's workman's compensation, which is insurance, and payroll taxes if they have employees, and just self-employment taxes. They don't understand that. And so that first year or two, they get hit by this big tax bill that they haven't prepared for, and they haven't worked it into their pricing. And it's a very rude awakening. It's like, okay, self-employment tax, I think, is 15%. So bam, 15% before anything else. So let's say your profit margin, let's say your gross sales that year was $100,000. Your operating costs, or let's say they're $30,000, and let's say you walked away thinking you made 70 grand.
Right.
Like, damn, I made 70 grand.
That's a lot of money.
And you waltz into your account and he says, oh yeah, well, self-employment tax is 15%. WTF, what's self-employment tax? Well, that's the tax that the government says you have to pay because you're self-employed.
Yeah.
15% of 70 grand. What is that, $10-ish thousand?
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm terrible at math. Because if 10% would be $7,000. So half of that would be 35, so it would be $10,500, I think would be 15%. No, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's substantial and it hurts. You're like,
yeah.
So literally, before you apply any other taxes, because then what happens is that Johnny, tax guy, accountant, says, okay, now at $70,000, you're in a 28% tax bracket. So then he comes in and he levies 28% against that, and you're like, WTF? You mean after all that work? So it's a rude awakening. So that's like number 3 as to why businesses fail, is they get behind that. At the end of the year, they're stuck with a big, huge tax bill that they now have to pay, and they think they're making like $50 an hour. That's what they're charging the customer. It's like, damn, on my job, I was making $12 an hour, or I was making $20 an hour. And I'm self-employed now, and I'm charging my customer $50 an hour. Damn, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Until you get in front of that tax guy, and then it's a rude awakening. You're like, oh, suddenly it's not $50 an hour.
Yeah.
It's more like $21.57 an hour. It's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, after everything
That
else.
hurts.
I think, yeah.
So it's a rude awakening for a lot of guys. I think I just spit. Anyhow, so there's always a cost. So that's why I use the car is like, okay, you've got the cost of the car. And then what? We went down a list, right?
Yeah.
What were some of the things I listed off?
Well, the insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Tax and license.
Fuel.
Fuel.
For sure. Repair costs.
Repair costs. So that's where we'll go from a car to a business. And I'm going to use, this is why we're standing behind this very unglamorous POS, which stands for piece of, exactly, trailer. Because we're here, what are we doing with this trailer?
Well, we just washed it. We're actually prepping it for decal wrap is what we're doing.
Speak, just so you know, when I start editing it, the like every time you shift voice, this microphone sucks.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's reverberating off of this when you turn this way and then suddenly this way. So it's kind of fluctuating all over the board.
All right. Do you
So-
want to ask the question again, and then?
Well, that's why I'm also kind of talking so loud. I'm not trying to overpower the moment.
Okay.
I'm just talking loud, which I didn't really give you. I didn't really prep you
No.
that way. So the question was, is we're standing next behind or in front of this very unglamorous trailer, and I said, what exactly are we doing? What are we doing here, Ilhan?
Well, we're prepping this trailer for a detail wrap. So we're just cleaning it off, and that's pretty much
And
all
by
we
cleaning, what does that literally mean?
did. Like literally cleaning. So we
Like washing it, right?
Yeah, we hosed
We're
it down.
washing the chunks off.
We covered it in degreaser, and we scrubbed it. Scrubbed it hard.
Yep, we scrubbed it with scrub brushes. What we did is we hosed it with water,
Yeah.
sprayed it with a McGuire super degreaser
Yeah.
out of a pump sprayer that is typically used for like weeds and that type of stuff around the house.
Yeah.
And then we scrubbed it with some scrub brushes, rinsed it off, and that was it, right?
That was it.
And what are we charging? It's a 53-foot trailer. What are we charging?
Between $250 and $300.
Right. And you know what I'm going to charge them?
Probably $300.
$300.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know a lot of you guys are out there going to go like, WTF, $300 to wash a damn 53-foot trailer. Because it sounds pretty kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, it really does.
Like if you owned a trailer and you called up Johnny Detailer and I said, oh yeah, I'll charge you $300. You'd be like,
yeah, well, honestly,
what are you, high?
Yeah, honestly, I would be like, well, hang on, let me make a couple more phone calls. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
Sure.
you'd be like, dude, you're on drugs. But this is what I want. This is the idea behind this video, is that guess what? And this is what I was instructing Ilhan about, is like, look at our travel time. To get out here, this is kind of out of our area of service.
Yeah.
It was 35 minutes. Okay, it's not 35 minutes only one time, because we have to now go home. Time is money.
Yeah.
So I want to get paid for travel time to and back.
Yeah.
So 35 times 2 is 70 minutes. That's a little over an hour. Okay, so right there is some, I'll call it soft costs.
Yeah.
Because the hard cost in this moment would be literally how much
Time.
labor to
Yeah.
perform this. And you and I, we didn't kill ourselves. Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't actually break a sweat.
No.
We were huffing and puffing a little
Yeah,
bit.
we
but
were,
I
we were
wasn't
working.
Yeah,
weren't,
we were
like,
definitely
kicking back.
working,
Yeah.
but we're not killing ourselves.
We could have, but we chose not.
Yeah, because we don't need to.
Yeah.
So that would be the hard cost of how much labor. So we probably, if you had to guesstimate, how much time do you think, let's say if we did not do any talking, we just came in, scrubbed, washed, and done.
Well,
we could probably get this done, and what would you say?
Yeah, probably an hour.
An hour? I wouldn't even put it an hour.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. And I'm not talking about the time we had to wait for Johnny Foreman to show up. I'm literally, everything set up and boom, 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 boom. I bet we could do it in 35 minutes.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But that's not it. So if you just reduced it down to, okay, I could do that in 35 minutes. I want to charge $50 an hour, let's say hypothetically.
Right.
It's like, okay, I could do for $50.
Yeah.
Okay, if we did this for $50, we'd be losing money.
We would be.
Absolutely, because you didn't take in all your soft costs, travel time. Now, materials is so trivial. I use probably a quarter gallon at best of super degreaser because it's a concentrate, which you may not know, and it's pre-mixed. So that's a diluted concentrate of super degreaser, and I dilute it down. Like for this, it was diluted down 5 to 1. So it was probably like $6 maybe. Whoa.
Yeah.
That would be a true hard cost, one of the hard costs, because
Right.
it's your chemicals. So, but you've got your travel time. Then when we showed up, what do we have to do? I called the guy, and how long did we sit there waiting for him to show up to the gate to let us in?
Honestly, 25 minutes. It was 25
Was it really
minutes.
that long?
Yeah, it was quite a long time.
Oh my gosh. I would have put it at like 10 to 15 minutes. I wasn't really keeping track because you and I were, talking about the mysteries of the universe. So there's that. You can't predict that. You don't know how long, the facilities director, manager, whatever, is going to take to let you in. But through experience, I know that these are all these moments that you can't ever predict. And so I know that there are always going to be these moments. Okay, what else did we run into? When we came here, I have 150 feet of hose. Well,
Right.
guess what? It wasn't long enough, right?
Right.
So now we have to wait for the truck driver to move or reposition the trailer to where we can actually allow our hose to reach.
Yeah.
And that took another 10, 15 minutes.
I feel like another 25 to me.
Okay, 25. I feel like I'm actually pretty good with time, but it's irrelevant in this moment, because the point I'm driving home to you, hopefully, is that there's all these additional costs that you need to factor in, or these additional factors that you need to put into the equation before you throw out a price. And this is where business owners get in trouble, is they don't know the true cost of operating a business. Like hiring an employee. It's like, oh yeah, well if I hire an employee, we can do twice the work. Maybe,
Yeah.
but not likely.
Yeah.
And what does it cost me to hire an employee? Well, you've got workman's compensation. You've got all these additional taxes of just hiring an employee. And guess what? I've got to pay him before that money actually comes streaming back to me. So I have to have enough capital reserves to hire him before it starts flowing back into my reserves, and so forth. So it's not just a simple equation of like, oh, I'll hire an employee, suddenly I'm producing twice the work and I'm making twice the money.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work that way.
It actually opens like another interesting conversation, because you could think about adding a third person. And if you throw a third person at it, you're not going to work 3 times as fast.
No.
It's going to be even less efficient, especially if you're working on a car.
Right.
Because there just isn't enough space.
And
Maybe on a
you're
trailer.
Yeah, you're speaking from experience.
Yes,
now.
I am. Yeah.
And probably before you got your hands into it, you think like, hey, Darren, if I could double your workload because now there's 2 of us. But when you realize when you're working on a car, it just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
Because you're kind of overstepping each other, you're working around each other, and you're talking, and it just adds dimension to the moment, and it's just not as simple as like, oh, 2 of us. What happens is you want to reduce it down to math. It's like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. So if there's 2 of us, surely we can get twice the work done. Okay, but it's not math. Even though I reduce it down to numbers, it's still not math. So anyhow, there's all these costs. So that's the point of the video, in 500,000 words or less.
500,000 words or less, yes.
So we just realized that the camera shut off. I am not at my computer yet, so I don't know where it cut off. So I'm hopeful that there's enough information there for you guys to learn. So we're just shooting this ending because we know that we just got cut off somewhere. And when I'm editing on my computer, hopefully it won't be right at the beginning of a topic. And now we're just leaving them hanging. It's like, wait, what's lost opportunity cost? And how does that apply to detailing?
Right.
So the video today, hopefully we learned, let's kind of regurgitate it, that there's always rules. And I think it's important to learn the rules before you learn to break the rules.
Right.
You can break the rules in an unscrupulous way, or you can break the rules that actually make sense to everyone. And in the world of detailing, that means you as a detailer and the customer. So I want to break the rules based on the manufacturer's constructs of rules, which is you need 5 products to clean the inside of a car. And Darren's essentially breaking the rules by saying that 95% of the time I can clean a car with a single product.
Yeah.
That's me breaking the rules. Is anyone hurting?
No.
Actually, there's one person.
The manufacturers are hurting.
Exactly.
But I'd like to point out that the point is to clean the car.
Right.
You got to put elbow grease in there. You got to clean the car. And I know Darren's made a lot of videos about this, but you got to put work in, clean the car. There's no magic product out there. You can't like bunch in a bunch of products. If you're going to cut a corner, yeah, let the manufacturers take the hit, I guess.
Right. But as far as my world, the customer's world, that's Darren breaking the rules. It's still going to be a win for both of us.
Right.
Meaning I'm not going to come in, like for example, the car washes, what they'll do, they'll reduce it down even further. And they'll take a dressing and they'll actually clean a lot of the material with the dressing, but it's not really cleaning. What it's doing is just, it's a cover-up. It's like a Band-Aid. They're going around and putting this shiny product over the dirt. And yes, they're automatically cleaning some of the superficial dirt up, but they're really just masking it or covering it up with a dressing. And now they've really cut corners.
Yeah.
But that actually hurts the customer and it only benefits the car wash.
Right.
So that would be cutting corners or breaking the rules in what I would call an unscrupulous way. That's for you to decide. That's not how we operate. I'm going to break the rules. It's still going to be a win for both of us because it makes more sense and it makes us more profitable. And also, when I'm more profitable, you're more profitable.
Yeah.
So once again, I've set it up so it's a win for both of us. So that's our video. Hopefully you've learned something.
Yeah.
And now you know who Ilhan is. And so when you call me up and I say, well, currently I've got a guy that's full-time, and yeah, you can still come out, but it's even more factors to take into consideration. All right.
See you guys.